you got two separate households with two values, right? You got raised a certain way, I got raised a certain way. Your mom and dad had different ideals on things as well. So you listen to mom, you listen to dad, and you come up with what you feel is what's for you, right? And then vice versa. Then that other person has a mom, has a dad, or has some people in their lives, whoever helped raise them, give them ideas on what's right, what's wrong, a course of moral values and a moral compass. And then you bring that into the relationship. You also bring the hurt, the pain, the previous relationships that you were in, the things that went well in previous relationships, the things that went wrong in previous relationships, the trust, the mistrust, kids, right? You bring a lot of things into a marriage, and you have to be willing, as my pastor said when he gave us counseling, he was like, you can't always be right. And she can't always be right. You guys got to meet in the middle. You have to compromise. And if you're not willing to compromise, you should not get married. We're not in the same place that we were before because my life has changed. Things have changed. Like even when women have children, if you love this woman before she has kids, her body's going to change when she has children.
Yes.
Love her with the stretch marks. Love her when she like my feet are swelling. Oh my God. Love her when she like my back is hurt. Baby, let me rub your back. Let me rub those feet. I love you anyway. And when you get older, you get gray hairs, your body changes, weight gets on you. Like, I can't shake this weight.
Right.
Hey, you got to marry somebody that you like. I don't not only love you, but I like you. Like, you got to like that person.
Right.
Like, they got to be your friend. It can't be just romantic. Like, that romance is like,
people will look into like relationships and they'll look at like the physical, and it's like, yo, that physical ain't gonna always be there. You need to have a foundation of like a friendship. Like, what happens when you know what I mean?
You don't know until you in it. But I do think that the compromise is the biggest thing. So I think that the consensus is marriage hasn't really changed. People have changed, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
for me, you know, one thing I will say, and I'll be totally candid, like I wasn't not looking to get married. Like I wasn't intentional. I was open for it. I was open to it. Definitely open to it, but I was not intentional about finding a wife at the time when I met my wife. I was God literally just put her in the area, put her in the right place at the right time. Now, regardless of how you come into the marriage, you still got to do the same work,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I learned that I wasn't intentional about finding someone, but I did. I was open to it. Now, we went through our marriage, a lot of the same things. We've changed, we've grown together, we've fought, what I'm saying? We've fought, we've loved, laughed, and all of that. And one thing I will say is that when you're with somebody and you're gonna get married, for me, Zell, you said something about as far as having kids. That's something that we definitely wanted. And I think it was, quite honestly, really the glue, because we got married pretty quickly, and we got to know each other as we were married. You know what I'm saying? Like I would honestly say that when we got married, relatively, we didn't know each other that well. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? When we got married, we only knew each other a little under 2 years. You know what I'm saying? But it's a humbling experience because you realize that okay, this is actually much more than a wedding day, like B said. And if I'm going to be with this person, particularly if we're going to have kids, there's a whole nother job of work to do. But my point is that as far as the kids, so I do think that one of the things I wanted to ask everybody is that minus kids, because we have a lot of people in society now that don't even want kids. So minus kids, is there an incentive to get married? And I would say in some cases that minus kids, people might not get married. You know what I'm saying? And I would be honest. I mean, if Well, I'll be honest. Yeah, if I had met my wife, if I had met Faith, and she said I don't want kids, then we wouldn't have got married. You know what I'm saying? Because kids were definitely something that I wanted. And that's, if I'm being honest, if most people being honest, is usually a part of that, unless you already have children and you're coming into the situation where you already have children, that's another story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like Zell said, you do have people that sometimes maybe one already has a kid and the other person doesn't. And let's say it's the woman who already has kids and the guy doesn't, and the woman may say, "Yeah, I'm open to have kids," but she really don't want to have no more
For the
kids.
tubes,
It's something
tubes to be
really
tied,
important.
but she won't tell you that. So
Yeah,
the
and you
whole
know
time you
what?
thinking is
And I
you.
and I
Yeah.
and I know of a situation like that where the woman already has a child and the guy didn't have a child, and the guy's like a stepdad, but the woman didn't want to have more kids, but she wasn't really honest about it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I think that part is so important, but I say that to say that a big part of the motivation to be married, um, in a lot of ways, sometimes is family. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, the motivation for getting married, I think, to all of your points, and I think be it all of y'all said something about that. But as far as young people now, you have people that don't necessarily want kids, they don't know when they want kids, and that is kind of tied to, well, what incentive do I have to be married to somebody in the sense of legally? You know what I'm saying? Legally tie my name to you, because once, like you said, it's a business transaction. If I legally tie myself to
Yeah.
you,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't that easy to get out. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And you know, even if you're not a millionaire, whatever little money you have, whatever little thing you got,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be chopped up.
And even with kids, because at that kids can be monetized at that point when once the relationship is over. There are women who will monetize those children. You know what I mean? Like now you gonna pay X amount of dollars. You know, it's just it all. I don't know if there is for these younger people the incentive to want to be married. Like I said, because what they'll see how often divorces happen, and they'll hear the stories of people, men losing, assets and money, and it's just the narrative is such that younger men are like, hey, why would I do that? Why would I put myself in that position? You know what I mean?